have a larger family of babies of the owl family. A lot, like great horn will have 1 or 2. Screech owls will have 2 to 5. These guys can have 6 to 10. And he was in a nest of 6. And I'm trying to put him back. It's going to be right on top of you guys. Here. Let's see if I can get that. Maybe I'll put his carrier down.
Now stay quiet.
You guys see if I put him up on top of here, would the desk be better? Could I get you one some carrier? Because I want to set him down in case he jumps. Okay. You want to put a towel up there in case he goes to the bathroom? While we're at it. There we go. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so, is that better? That's kind of a better angle for you, I think. All right, so, what happened was, when he was sitting in the nest, then he was about a week old. So you have babies with these birds. A lot of birds don't start sitting on their eggs until they're all laid. He's going to talk to you. So Barnaby's parents start incubating the eggs. So they start sitting on the eggs as soon as she lays an egg. So they're born every 2 or 3 days because they lay an egg every 2 or 3 days. So what he does, you have a 14-day-old baby, you can have a brand new baby. The bigger babies, if there's no food, could eat the smaller babies. So you always want to be a bigger barn owl, basically. But he was one of the 6, and one of the babies in the nest was killed, and there were 4 other remaining babies, and the Division of Wildlife put a barn owl box and hung it up on another tree, and the parents moved over and took care of them. It's not true that if you touch baby animals, the mothers don't come back. That's another thing you need to learn. If you see a baby bird on the ground, you can have someone put it back in the nest, or you can have make a little nest and put it in a tree, and the parents will feed the baby in the tree. You don't have to say, just because I touched it, the mother's going to abandon them. What happens when you see a bird nest and you touch all the babies in the nest and the next morning they're all dead? It's because something else like a possum or raccoon smelled it, that you touched them, and they kill the babies. So to keep them safe, you don't touch them. Birds don't smell, so they're not going to smell that you touch their babies, and they're good parents. They aren't going to abandon them just because you were there. So we've moved nests over, we've put things back, we put other birds in their nests. They don't count either. So bluebirds, we can put bluebird babies in another nest. You can put robins in another nest as long as they're about the same size. You wouldn't put a cardinal in with a robin, but you put a cardinal in with a cardinal if they're about the same size babies. So that's a good thing to learn because we do that a lot if we can. And barn owls, or like barn swallows, live in the barns when they have a whole bunch of nests. And if they're fledging, we put them all in there together and they go together. And that's a good way to do that. So it's not true that if you touch them, the mothers don't come back. So that's really important to know. And bunnies are the same way. It's not just birds. Bunny rabbits, people find a bunny nest in their yard and they only are in the nest 3 weeks. They're gone. So it's really important that we leave them alone so the parents can raise them. It takes me a lot longer to teach an animal how to do something than it does the mother. So if you think about it, like for a robin, how do you teach a robin how to pull a worm out of dirt? I'm not a bird, I can't do that. But robins can teach them in a day. It takes me weeks to do that. I have to give them the dirt, put worms in it, pull them out a little bit. It takes me a long time to do that and a lot of work. So we want the animals' mothers and dads to raise them, if it's at all possible. Okay, so back to barn owls. Okay, he's kind of talky, as you can tell. So barn owls, what's the circle called on an owl's face?
Facial disc.
What does the facial disc do? What am I not called on? Anybody? Okay. What is the facial disc? What's the purpose of a facial disc?
Does it absorb sound?
Okay, if you look at the feathers really closely, the feathers on the facial disc are different than the rest of the feathers. And a facial disc is like a satellite dish, and it pulls in all the sounds. And where are their ears? What are the things that stick up on the great horned owls and the screech owls and stuff? Not all owls have them, but what are they?
Ear tufts.
And what do they do?
They're just tufts of fur,
Okay.
feathers on their top of their
Okay, so it's part of their camouflage. It's really not their ears, right? So where are their ears?
inside their head.
Inside their head? Okay, well, let me show you. Let's see if you, let me show you. If you look at the facial disc, all around the facial disc, if you go to the side of the facial disc, and if I move the feathers, right there, you'll see his ear. And he doesn't like you to do that, but there it is. Okay, so we have one ear that's maybe down and one ear that's up. His eye. Yeah, he's got a cataract in his eye. That's from being old.
What about his
That's his bad wing. See, remember I told you his wing is missing? This is what his wing should look like.
That's just sad. Oh.
You want to see him? I'll put him up so you can see him first. Okay.
Hey, you know.
Remember how well they can hear? He could hear a mouse a quarter of a mile away walking around on leaves. So they hunt by hearing. These guys are the stealth tigers of the world, because in the barn owl world, 99 times out of 100 in a pitch black room, he will hit a prey on the first hit. They are the best hunter of the owl family, these guys, the barn owls. So, but think about a quarter of a mile. Have your parents tell you how far away a quarter of a mile is in the